Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. And Mr. Lohman, you made a comment that if I understood it correctly, I wanted to restate it, and that is that GSEs say if foreclosure has begun before the modification starts, the servicer should continue foreclosure proceedings while underway with the modification. Did I catch that correctly?
You did.
Okay, so we have so many folks coming to our office in Oregon who over here are working with the servicer to modify their loan, but then they're getting foreclosure notices, phone calls, agents coming to their door, and they keep calling up the servicer and saying, I thought we had a loan modification underway. Is this the result of these dual processes going forward together?
Yes, it's a result of the dual processes, and as I mentioned at Chase, what we have put in place is a process that makes sure that if there is a modification in process, and if there's a foreclosure in process, and you initiate a modification during that period of time, that we won't allow a foreclosure sale to happen. So we stop the foreclosure sale. So you don't take the final step, but you continue kind of the steps leading up to that. Correct.
Just short. This is a story from one of my constituents. My husband and I signed a loan modification. Were approved September 2009. It was a steep loan rate, and every year our interest went up. We sent in a payment of $577 in certified funds for the modification to become effective. We began making our new payment each time we called in, but there was confusion. We got a foreclosure notice in the mail. When we called to ask about it, they would assure us everything is okay. Keep on making your payment is what they would tell us. We have made our new payment for over a year and are still receiving foreclosure notices. The bank told us our account hasn't been updated and not to worry. We went out of town in October 2010, so last month, and received a notice of foreclosure on our door. When my husband called the bank, they told him the lender never signed off on our modification, so it was not valid. They were going to try and figure out something and let us know. When I called to check on the account in November, of course, this month, the bank said we're now delinquent. I told them what had happened and asked what we should do. She told me we may qualify for a loan modification. I said, we did that. I told the woman we were approved and had been paying our new payment for over a year. I asked her if she had seen this happen before. The woman said yes. I then asked what happened to the money we paid every month. She told me that it went towards our account, but only as a partial payment. Now my husband and I don't know what to do. We want to make a payment, but not if it is just a partial payment. We need help and advice, but can't afford an attorney. It's embarrassing to have your neighbor tell you have a foreclosure notice on your door. We also had a man come to our house telling us that he was from the mortgage company and wanting to know if we were occupying the property. I said, yes, we live here. This has created a huge strain in our family and caused an enormous amount of stress. Our children have been affected by this as well. I have stacks of these stories, of this conflict between foreclosure. Can't we just change this policy and suspend the foreclosure proceedings when a modification is underway, not keep it going forward and create this enormous confusion and stress for America's families?
So the new process, prescribed by HAMP that was instituted this summer would necessitate that we enter into the modification process and engage with the customer to initiate a modification prior to the commencement of foreclosure. So that's the process that's happening today. The other major key difference today from in the past is at the beginning and the onset of the program, of the HAMP program and other modification programs, we did things based on the statements from the borrower. So we entered into trial modification plans based on what they told us over the phone. And then we got into the game of collecting documents, not getting the documents, I'm sure in many cases misplacing the documents. But at the end of the day, this period of time just took way too long. So the new process is such now that we collect the documents before we enter the trial payment, set up a trial payment. And really the only thing that has to happen in order to make that a permanent modification.
My time's almost out.
Okay.
Have you changed your practice to suspend the foreclosure proceedings, not the final step, but the whole stream of events?
We have not.
I just want to put that forward. Ms. DeSower, how about with Bank of America? Would that be possible to set aside the foreclosure operation while you're in the modification process?
Yeah, that is what we're proposing to consider, but we can't do it independently except on our own portfolio of loans. And that's why we're working with the state attorneys general on a suggestion to do that.
Well, I think there's one substantial, simple step that would have substantial positive consequences, because the homeowners are completely confused and completely stressed by these foreclosure notices, and then suddenly, in some cases, people find out that foreclosure has actually gone through.